Hey Angie, thanks for calling us back. We've got the whole consulting team here. I'm Wiley.
I'm Ernst.
I'm PNW.
And I'm KP.
So we took a look at all the questions that you brought to us and we also looked into some of the things you said that your account was concerned about. So we're going to kind of just go ahead and dive right in. We're not going to waste any more of your time.
Alright, Angie, I'll start us off. So basically, bottom line is your goal is to reach $4,000 of profit per month. And although you haven't met this goal yet, based on the past 6 months, we do feel that you will be able to get there. So we do want to look at the success that you've had since starting out. And so some of these metrics that we've used to measure that success is customer lifetime revenue. So basically, this measures the revenue that you receive from repeat customers. So from the past 6 months, it looks like not only have you been able to maintain the sales revenue, but you've been able to increase the sales revenue each month. So we're assuming that you've been able to sell to some of these customers and then also sell to more, which increases your customer base. So the next thing I want to talk about is the break-even point and what that is for you. So basically, this is how many trays you need to sell each month just to break even to, make back the money that you've spent. The trays you need to sell each month to break even is 385. So obviously in April and May, you didn't sell that many trays, and that's why you didn't come out with an operating profit. But in June, July, August, and September, you were able to do that. Looking at your last month's sales revenue, you were able to sell 1,290 trays, which puts you really close to your profit goal. So we calculated it out, and you only need to sell 1,450 trays. So really, you only need to sell 160 more trays. And judging on the past 6 months of your sales, we're sure that you'll be able to make this in the next month at least. I also want to look at your gross margin percentage. So since you didn't meet your break-even point, that's why it's a negative percentage in April and May. But in June to September, you did have a positive gross margin percentage. So basically, your gross margin percentage represents the portion of each dollar amount, of each dollar revenue that the company retains as gross profit. So as a takeaway, although you haven't met your profit goal of $4,000 per month, we want you to still consider yourself as being fairly successful. Judging by the different metrics that we looked at, you're meeting your break-even point and you have increased your operating profit drastically in the last 6 months, and you're really only $500 short of your goal. So we analyzed some of the different things and have looked at some of the concerns that your accountant has, and we have some suggestions for you on how some of these minor changes and additions will be able to help you get to your goal.
So Angie, as we were talking to you, we really wanted to emphasize how important the sales mix is in regards to the different product types that you're selling and how that's going to affect your profits. So the very first thing that we wanted to talk to you about was the contribution margin. So how much you're selling each different product for versus subtract the variable costs, the costs that are only affected by making the empanadas. So for the vegetarian empanadas, the contribution margin on those is $6.14. The Peruvian chicken empanadas, the contribution margin is $5.11, and the contribution margin for the Argentinian beef is $4.30. So that one is the lowest contribution margin. We really wanted to compare the sales mix that you had, that you projected in your budget versus what's actually happening. So, for example, the very first month, in your budget, you budgeted selling 3,350 empanadas for $8,091, and the price of ingredients broke down to $2.42. For the actual, what happened in April, for example, where you sold 20% vegetarian, 40% Peruvian, and 40% Argentinian, that actually came out to be $1.50 favorable in comparison with the ingredient costs. So we went through and we compared each month with the budget versus the actual results, and we presented each one of those on this sheet here. And in total, we showed that you actually sold 10% vegetarian, 43% Peruvian, and 47% Argentinian. And over the course of those 6 months, you sold 3,919, so almost 4,000 empanadas. But your the variance was actually $606 unfavorable. If you had a more favorable sales mix, you actually would have already achieved your $4,000 profit goal. So some options that you could do to help the sales mix out could be to remove the option to purchase a custom mix of vegetarian, Peruvian, and Argentinian empanadas. So maybe the restaurants that are buying from you have to buy at a 2 to 4 to 4 ratio. Or you could increase the sales prices for the meat empanadas or decrease the sales price for the vegetarian empanadas.
After looking over your empanadas, standard budget, and actual budget, I created a flexible budget based on your standard rates and actual number of trays sold over the last 6 months. I found that your material or labor variance is unfavorable as your cost of sales expense were higher in the flexible budget. In addition, your price or efficiency variance is also unfavorable, meaning that your business is not operating at your greatest potential and your variable costs are too high in comparison. As you can see, most of the variable expenses stay within range of the standard cost, except for ingredients and labor, which fluctuate the greatest. Our accountant is concerned because the business is growing more rapidly than predicted, but is still underperforming compared to flexible expectations. However, even with the unfavorable variance, if you were to just compare the standard to the actual, you are on track to meet your goal of the $4,000 profit per month.
So Angie, you discussed with us earlier that you had a special order placed from a local grocery store that specialized in your empanadas. You had mentioned that they said that they wanted to make it a more standard order moving forward, and that they'd call and let you know in advance, and it wouldn't really interfere with your business. So with the special order, that's actually a good idea, and it's the few things with that, what qualifies that to make it a good, sound business investment, that you're not interrupting your everyday operations to make this happen. So there's a few things you need to know with that. So because it's not interrupting your day-to-day operations, then you're going to be able to ignore most of your fixed costs. So with that, the only part of your fixed costs that you'll have to take into consideration is the incremental costs that'll go up. So things like your utilities, that will go up slightly. So you also mentioned that with this delivery and the standard order, that they'll continue to pick up the order as they had in the past, so that will be able to cut down on your delivery costs. With that, I ran a few numbers for you, and I showed that if you were to sell with your original $11.50 per empanada order, you'll notice that you make a per tray profit of $5.62 for your vegetarian, $4.59 rounded with your Peruvian chicken, and then your Argentinian you'll make $3.78. For every order you take in on your special order, you'll make an additional $241.90 per order. That's if you do it at your original cost. However, I actually recommend, and after discussing with my colleagues, that it probably would be a good idea to offer a slight discount. And if you were to do this discount, what we recommend is that you do it at $1.01 per order. And the reason that we recommend that is it's actually what it's doing is the discount is what you save on the incremental cost of your delivery. So basically we're flipping back what we save to the customer. The reason that we think this is a good idea is because it's going to keep your customer placing this order moving forward, and it offers them an incentive to keep picking it up and move forward and keep making these orders with you. So if we figure that in, we figured that your sales, you're going to only charge them $10.49 for every tray of empanadas, and that's with all of your different, your 3 different categories of empanadas. So your profit on your vegetarian at that point would be $4.61 per tray. Your Peruvian would be $3.58 rounded, and your Argentinian would be $2.77. So in the end, that means you're going to make $191.40 every order, because with that discount added in. So it's another way that you can keep making more money that isn't going to affect everything else.
Hey Angie, thanks for reaching out to our firm. I know you were working with some of our associates and going over some of the aspects of your business. I just want to address, so you communicated that your goal was to make $4,000 a month in profit, and so I think that that's where we should focus first. Since you opened your business 6 months ago, you've had an average revenue growth of almost 29%, which has moved you closer and closer to that $4,000 a month goal. To get $4,000 a month, you would need to sell 1,450 trays based off mixed sales. Based off of the growth rate and the numbers we've ran for your company is definitely profitable, and I wouldn't say you need to stop selling your empanadas. So I think that what we need to focus on is maybe how we can improve your processes to make you more profitable, and give you a little bit more opportunity. So the 3 areas that we saw that you weren't on your budget was in ingredients, labor, and deliveries. So let's focus on those. So there's 2 approaches we could take when dealing with ingredients. Either we need to find a supplier who still gives you the same standard of quality, or we need to change the prices. So we ran some numbers and we showed that if you were to change your 2 meat empanadas to $12 a tray each and drop the vegetarian down to $11, you would have made your goal in September of $4,000. You actually would have got about $4,050 profit last month. What we're hoping is if you drop the vegetarian empanada down to 11, where it's a little bit cheaper for you to make, it might increase the demand, as well as offset it. So if customers look and they order all of your trays, it's not like it's too much of a price difference with changing the prices. When looking at labor costs, depending on what you wanted to do, you could always invest in some equipment that might make your processes more efficient, and you could hire somebody to help you run it instead of hiring people as it goes. You could definitely get a little bit more efficiency out of it and possibly be able to produce more in less time. And as far as transportation goes, it's kind of tough. We talked about special orders and how they come and pick it up, and if you can get more special orders, that's definitely going to help with your cost of fuel and delivery. But for the regular orders, what you could do is you could maybe get into a delivery van and equip it with natural gas, which would cut down on your fuel costs. And possibly even maybe look into scheduling routes so you can take care of multiple customers at the same time, which would cut down on time as well as fuel. So basically with these assumptions, I believe that if we focused on your productions and your operations, we could definitely help you get more profitable. And we might have to work with things a little bit, tweak it here and there until we dial it into where you want it to be and where it's going good. And then possibly even, looking into, once we get everything dialed in, getting you into the supermarket and grocery stores that you were talking about at first. But I think that would be a little bit later down the road. But yeah, we look forward to working with you, and we're glad you reached out to our firm.